Hello, good afternoon everyone. This is me Gokul Kandil. So today I'm going to present a short video presentation based on our part of our assignment. So it was the literature review alignment on IT strategy with business strategy. The main topic is about a business strategy in IT. So let us begin from our presentation. Um, so these are the main agendas that today I'm going to talk about. So introduction, basically I will introduce like how business is uh, how business is working on that one. Introduction, roles of IT governments in alignment of business and IT strategies, how business leaders should align in IT strategy with business strategy, on strategic alignment model SAM, structure based alignment model, investigation of SAM, structure based model SAM in Japanese corporation, SMES, suggested ICT policy, cloud computing, and finally the conclusion. So beside that I will include how was the overall journey of the virtual classroom, online classroom in a whole lecture and everything at in this presentation. So starting with introduction. So firstly, business and IT performance are tightly coupled, tightly close related terms. So but still companies cannot be competitive if their strategic are not aligned with the business. Alignment of IT in the business is a state where the objectives, vision, mission and planning between business strategies are supported by the information technology. Yes, it's true. So business is the state where like business objective, visions, mission, and planning between the strategic and supported by information technology. So it refers to the IT collectively and conveniently in collaboration with the business goals and targets. So that's the what we can get in there. So connection between IT and business at both strategic and planning levels, where IT objectives supports and are supported by the business objectives. So this is basically about the introduction of how IT is aligned with the business. So jumping on the next slide, role of IT governments in alignment. So what is the role of IT, information technology governments in alignment? So here a set of organization tools like tools and methodologies that provides organization with the architecture for aligning the business with IT strategies. The government's main role is aligning the business IT strategy is to assure the organization investment and IT, which must generate the maximum value as a reward and reduce the IC associated failure and risks. An organization an organization can choose the best IT government solution by determining their IT structure, key metrics, and IT impact on business. So after that, among many introduced solutions, COVID control objective for information and related technologies is constructed as the best practice in IT governments, which we learn more about the in the lecture also. But I have is briefly discover about these all COVID terms in my report as well. So and the next one is like how business leaders should align IT strategy with business strategy. So in order to gain the maximum like outcome from in any organization or company, business leaders should align with the IT strategy. So these are here I will discuss about some of the benefits of IT strategy. So it will like investment in IT must be so if we business leader use these policies, they can get the maximum return value. And IT investment should be a source of gain, value, and betterment for the company. So concentrate IT concentrate information technology in three different dimensions, that is like hardware, software, and human dimension towards the chosen strategy. Necessary to consider the right tools, models, methodology to align the business IT property. So the literature review discuss about the two models named Strategic Alignment Model (SAM) and the enterprise architecture. And yes, it is true, like it will discuss about two models like SAM, Strategic Alignment Model, and the enterprise architecture. So I have briefly discussed about this one in my report as well. So the next one is here I will discuss about the strategic alignment model, the SAM, firstly. So we can see from the in the diagram, also clearly see on the diagram, alignment major dimension is known as alignment of two major dimensions known as the strategic fit and functional fit. So firstly, strategic fit, it's like a vertical linkage, as we can see in the diagram. This indicates a uniform between internal and external domains. So the one is strategic fit and the another one is like a functional fit. So in the functional fit, horizontal linkage and the indicates two types of integration across the business of IT domains. Yes, we can see in the diagram and understand more about that one. First type of functional fit is the strategic integration and shows the link between both the business and IT strategy. So second type is the operational infrastructure, which shows the linkage between the organization infrastructure and process as well as the infrastructure process. So it is the popular model proposed by Henderson and Benkatraman in 1993. It is one of the popular model that it has been described, proposed on that time. So still it has a very great significance in the IT industry. So the next one is like the structure based alignment model. This is like the modified version of SHAM, proposed by uh, Michael Miyamoto. The model defined as the structure and infrastructure segment of SAM, including the role as well as the effect of different departments of the company. So the four hypotheses of the structure based on the alignment model are: firstly, the business strategy affect the IT strategy. That's really true. And the human resources department will affect other firms. Human department will also influence business and IT strategy. And number four, other firms department will affect IT strategy as well as the business strategy. So we can see on the diagram like how the business scope, companies, IT companies, governments, other departments, as a department, other departments, business infrastructure and IT infrastructure, how they are correlated to each other in order to propose this model. So how they works, it's clearly described over there. So, and the investigation, furthermore, I want to talk about the investigation of sham in Japanese corporation. So in the marking criteria, it has been like asking for at least one of the investigation done on this field. So I choose one of the Japanese corporation, SMES. So from where we can see the human resources department in Japan have been identified the power over department, where in case of US companies, HR department have the low power over the line department. So we can see the comparison between over there and clearly understand the view. Conducted two experimental study using the proposed model SAAM. The first experiment providing 345 response from Japanese enterprise provided that the business strategy has a huge effect on and that proves that like the business strategy has the huge effect on IT strategy. And the second one is like the second experiment is about providing 2869 responses of Korean Human Capital Corporate Panel. It was the Korean Capital Human Corporate Panel survey, which suggests that Korean human HR department have a huge impact on over the IT strategy. Therefore, SAAM structure alignment model indicate the human resources department has a considerable effect over the department and over the business strategy as well. So IT strategy is somehow linked to the HR department but not linked to any other department. Yes, it's completely true. So the next one is like the cloud computing policy. So talking about the cloud computing policy, so we can all these IT related terms. All this IT related works are based on the cloud platform. So agency must have like a policy statement. How was the policy of the cloud? So agencies are used to a competing solution that better meets the business requirement, having due regard to benefits and value, risks and mitigations, protection and controls. This policy specify the accountability requirement and control to enable the effective use of the cloud computing. So a cloud computing service are generally externally based on the covers of spectrum of ICT related infrastructure communication technology related services from the infrastructure through the software. And there is another one, transition to external cloud services reduce the agency control over the service. So service and data, service delivery and data, and introduce a range of new additional risks including the security, legal, financial, commercial, business continuity and government reputational risks that need to be addressed. And then after that I would like to provide one. So here I would like to add some of the things. Overall, in the whole semester of this IT strategy and business aligning, we have learned a lot of tools and techniques to about the IT strategy, governments, tools, techniques, models, and so many things which are really used in our daily life in the IT infrastructure and when he works on the IT. So with this I would like to conclude some of the conclusion that I find from this one, find from the overall journey of the course and this report and the final presentation. The paper has reviewed the literature on how business can achieve their goals using the business IT alignment frameworks, and stated as the aspect of IT governments for aligning the business and IT strategies. It's a building block of the alignment. Evaluation done on the Japanese corporation to investigation whether the use of SAM model in the previous of strategic alignment brings benefit turns out to be the positive, which proves that the proper alignment can be obtained by business leaders using this model. So finally, the review also suggests the use of ICT policy in cloud computing. So with this I would like to end up here.